Welcome to Conscious You. My name is Tiffany Cano. I'm your host, as well as the CEO of Highly Perceptive People Academy. I'm a blind spot healer and have been getting paid for healing since I was 8 years young. And you are going to love the coaches and healers that I have brought to serve and support you. Enjoy. I have Gracie Liu here with me today, and we are doing a whole topic on Speak Up, Shine Bright, and it's about empowering shy women to find their voice. So Grace is an Asian American and speech language pathologist. She empowers introverted women with over 23 years of experience resolving communication breakdowns by overcoming stagnant communication syndrome. Grace is passionate about helping her clients shift communication in all areas of life so they experience more harmony, are understood, the whole conversation is more impactful, there's easy resolution that's effective, supported by their partners, families, and work associates, by knowing how to value themselves and their opinions and discover their boundaries, which I love boundary work, so they can speak up for themselves with confidence in proactive ways rather than being reactive and have more peace in your relationships at home and at work. Grace believes that amazing soul oceans, soul in caps, are everywhere with clear communication. So welcome, Grace.
Thank you for allowing me to be here on your summit. I look forward to sharing information with the audience, and hopefully your audience will gain value from the information and from the interview.
Yeah. And I know that you work with human design as part of your communication, education, and style and helping people. Can you describe what that means for those who are unfamiliar?
Right. So with the human design, it's about who you are. When you came into this world, you were born with a specific design. It's who you are. And there are 5 types of the human design. There's the reflector, projector, manifestor, manifesting generator, and generator. So each type has their authority and they have their strategies. And then within that, you each have your own centers, whether it be opened or closed. And so through all of that, you're being able to figure out how to navigate through making decisions. And, everybody has energy. And if you think about communication has energy, right? And so your human design is also energy. And when you're talking to someone, you're exchanging energy. And so some of the things that you're saying or something that is being said to you may not be your own energy, might be somebody either reflecting back your energy to you, or it might be they're getting energy from you and then you borrowing your energy to speak their message. So understanding the human design just helps you to understand why you communicate the way you do, and perhaps when you may want to be quiet, or when perhaps it's best for you to share the information, your message, your opinions, your thoughts, and ideas.
Love it. And I think it's so important, especially for us ladies, to really find our voice and be able to speak and communicate. And I know even for me, who has been teaching transformation for 30 years, there's still different things that I'm still like, oh, and I can find my voice in this area and I can speak my truth to this person about this topic that maybe I couldn't have done a couple years ago. So it's just a very commendable and so needed thing that you're doing. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tiffany, for that message. Yes. It's all about women supporting women, right? For the men, they are able to communicate in certain ways. And, where some women have been taught that, we're best to be seen and not heard. And so now women are stepping up and saying, wait a minute, right? We have a voice and let's share our message. And so we're also teaching men, how to communicate as well, even though they may be able to communicate, but they communicate differently. So we can each share and, be a teacher and a student to one another so that we can have that harmonious relationship through communication.
Nice. And how do people actually find out about their communication styles? Because I mean, as I was listening to just the brief description, I was like, well, sometimes I'm this and sometimes I might be that, so how do we discover that?
Well, so for me, what I found just from my own personal experiences growing up, and then using my speech language pathology background, because again, it's all about communication. And so, being able to communicate and working with so many types of people and everything, I found that a lot of the times we communicate based on from our motivation, like our inner motivation, and then outer motivation from life experiences, our backgrounds, our culture. So there's a lot of different factors. And then what I found out was that from that, there's what I consider 4 communication styles.
Nice.
And then that's like the fireball, the nurture, the diplomatic, and the humorous.
And isn't that also what you're going to be giving away as a gift? Hint for those of you who are wanting to pick up more goodies. And we'll talk about those gifts a little bit later, but planting the seed now. And don't you also have a quiz that people can take to actually discover that?
Yes. So if you go to my website, it's okay for me to share the website, or you want me to hold? Okay. So if you go to Grace Solutions, the capital SOUL, gracesolutions.com, you'll be able to find the quiz. And it's basically just answering some questions. And then from those questions, you get then a quick description of your communication style. And then you also then can download a full report about your communication style.
Nice. How have you seen people, once they've discovered what their communication style is, how have you seen that shift their relationships with other people? Can you give us, maybe a couple of stories about clients you've worked with in that way?
Yeah.
And you don't have to use real names, obviously.
Well, no, but here's the thing. I'll share my story.
Okay.
I'll share my personal story.
Thank you.
Before I decided to, go into my business, like I said, I was a speech language pathologist and I worked as a travel speech language pathologist. So as long as I had a license in that state, I was able to work in that state. So for many years, I was working as a, travel speech language pathologist, and I was going from assignment to assignment. And it was during one of my assignments that I was wrapping up and getting ready to start a new one. Now, I'm very much of a nurturer, which means that I like to provide support, guidance, make sure that everything is lined up and all this, so that everything is set up properly. One part is closed, one part is getting ready for the next action. So I like to make sure all the ducks are in a row, so to speak, right? And then again, providing all the support and guidance and everything. And my husband travels with me. Now, my husband is supportive. However, he's not a nurturer. His communication style is a humorous. And so it was during this time that, because I was, wrapping up and starting a new assignment, it gets a little bit frantic. It can be pretty stressful because, you're trying to figure everything out. And it was during one of our really deep, discussions. And it was getting towards almost like an argument that my husband then drew a picture of me with devil horns and put it on the cabinet. And then the next picture that he puts up is a picture of him with tears running down his eyes and snot running down his nose. And I busted out laughing because he used his communication style, which, if you haven't guessed it, is the humorous. So he was using his humorous communication style, telling me, like, you're being a devil right now. You're too intense for me. If you don't tone it down, we're not going to have a discussion because it's going to end up me with tears. So,
Yeah.
I understood right then and there. If I hadn't understood his communication style, I would have thought, oh my goodness, how insensitive, right? How
Right.
insensitive of him, of drawing me as a devil when I'm trying to be the supportive one, trying to provide the guidance and all the things that are necessary so that everything runs smoothly as I'm trying to finish one assignment and getting ready to move to the next city for my new assignment.
Yeah. Because someone who didn't know that could easily misconstrue it and take it personally and feel attacked by that, or, some other little meaning that they gave it. So it's really cool that you knew that humor language style about your husband and how it could, you could play with it, you could shift and make those changes. But what about people who have like a stagnant communication style? What does that mean and how do you remedy that?
So there isn't really a stagnant communication style. What happens is, with the stagnant communication, it just feels like, if you think about water, stagnant water, right? Stagnant water means like the water's not moving, it's not doing anything. And over time, it gets really muddy and murky and everything, right? And so
Uh-huh.
with the stagnant communication, it can feel that way, where it's almost like you're having the same type of speaking patterns, the same type of phrases, the same type of arguments all the time with that person, where it's not moving anywhere. It's just staying stale. And so every time you speak with that person, or every time there's a situation, you use the same type of phrases, or you're having that same type of arguments. It's like you're just spinning over and over and over. And so then you start to feel that muddy murkiness because it's not moving anywhere. And so by knowing your communication styles, by using some of these tools like the human design and all that, what you're trying to do then is you're bringing awareness so that you can move the communication and somehow pivot away from feeling that stagnant communication.
Excellent. Yeah. What are some other do's and don'ts that would be helpful for us to know?
Right. So a lot of the times we feel we don't have the control over our conversation or communication,
Mm-hmm.
and what happens is we tend to say, you said X, Y, and Z, or, every time you do this, you make me feel X, Y, and Z. So when you do that, you have already given your control away. So one of
Right.
the simple things you can do is to help you to remain in control of the conversation and control of the communication is using I statements. Like, I would like if we can put the shoes X, Y, and Z, or I would like if, this happened, or, I know that this is the best path, or I know the solution would be X, Y, and Z. So just by using the I statements puts you into the control.
Yeah, I see a lot of people just use statements and it bothers me. I gotta say, I'm just, sometimes I let it bother me. I'm like, why are you, in my mind, I'm thinking, stop giving your power away and projecting.
Exactly. Right. And so that's why they always feel like, oh, I don't have control over a conversation. I don't have control over this situation. Well, that's because you basically, when you use you, you did this or you made me, then yes, you have given away the control. So yes, you can maintain your power, you can maintain your control and be in control by using I.
Yes. Aye, Captain. And talk to me about how boundaries come into play. Because, I mean, for me, I talk a lot about energetic boundaries, not just like verbally saying something that you're hoping and wishing and praying they register as a boundary. So, what do
Right.
you mean by boundaries with this?
Well, sometimes somebody might ask you a question and you're not comfortable in answering, and they just keep pushing and pushing. And then eventually you might give in and you didn't want to give in. So know your boundaries. You can easily say, thank you for your concern, but I have it under control. You could just say, thank you for asking. I'm not willing to share. And if they keep just pushing, you can just say, this is not a topic I'm comfortable discussing, or this is not a topic we're going to talk about today. So be okay and if the person is upset with that type of answer, it's on them and not on you, because you have your boundary and you need to respect your boundary. And they can try to push all they want, but if you don't want to answer a question, if you don't want to address something, you don't need to. Or likewise, if somebody's yelling at you, and you don't want to interact that way with that person, you don't have to yell back. You can just tell the person, I will respond when you talk to me in a calm manner.
I like it a lot.
So it's just knowing what boundaries, and then be able to speak and tell the person what that boundary is. And if they don't honor that, then you can just walk away, right?
What about when it's a dynamic where someone actually is in a more power position, employee boss, right? Where there's actually an hierarchy.
Right.
How do you work with that?
Well, you can still tell your boss, hey, I don't work well when someone's yelling at me. I work best when someone is talking to me in a respectful manner. It's all about how you speak to the person. Now, if you're speaking to that person in an aggressive manner or in a demeaning way, you're going to get that back. But if you speak to the person with respect, holding your boundary, and that person most likely will follow your suit. Now, if sometimes we come across those bosses that are not, how do I say,
registering the
I want to say they're not respectful. They're kind of like, they're the big boss and it is what it is kind of a thing. Then you can just say, still be who you are, still talk in a calm manner, and then just say, do what you need to do to get the job done. You just have to realize, again, it's not you, it's that person. That person is being the way that person is, and it has nothing to do with you.
Gotcha.
So sometimes, yes, you might come across somebody who's not conscientious or not respectful. Then you can just tell them, I don't respond this way. Or if you don't feel like you can, because this person's like a big CEO or big president, you can just say, I got your message, and then get on with it. Do your own thing, but you don't need to put more explanation or put more verbal phrases or conversation into it. You just want to keep it short and simple.
Now, I know that we could probably have a whole workshop on this right now, and yet there's not time enough for that. But I would love for you to talk more about your free gifts, and then I'll have you talk about your VIP one.
Sure. So the free gift is, if you would love to know about your communication styles, because knowing your communication styles, and so that way you can be more in control of your communication, then you can, like I say, go visit my website, gracesolutions.com, for the free quiz. And like I say, just once you take the quiz, just give your brief one sentence, you are this, but then you can always download the full report that gives you more detail of what it means to be the fireball, the nurturer, the diplomatic, and the humorous.
Nice.
And by the way, I want to say, there are no good or bad human designs, and there are no good or bad communication styles. It is who you are, and you just work with it, because like anything else, there's a positive and a negative. So there's going to be strengths and there's going to be weaknesses. And you can use the strengths to overcome any weakness, and just know that it's who you are. You don't want to change anything. So don't, I don't want to say, oh, somebody says, I'm a fireball. No, no, there's no good or bad communication styles, and there are no good or bad human designs. It's who you are, and then you figure it out who you are so that you can work around it, so that you can have that harmonious relationship through communication.
Nice. And your VIP gift?
Yes. So with a VIP gift, I am willing to do a human design report. I will do your full human design report and then meet with the person 30 minutes, 45 minutes to go over the human design report, and in relationship to how it relates to the communication part.
Thank you. And that one you would normally charge $297, and yet it comes free when you guys are in the VIP category, right? So it's like even just one speaker more than quadruples the investment for in most of the cases. So grab the VIP, get that one-on-one consultation and report so that you can learn your human design communication style and bring more peace and harmony and respect into your everyday communications with your loved ones, with your coworkers, and you'll notice some big shifts.
Exactly.
I would
Yes.
imagine it also make you a lot more money, open you up to more love, peace and joy.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, thank you again, Grace. Everyone pick up her gift. Much love.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Mhm.